Hey, what's up, everyone? Dan Carson here. Welcome back to the BYOB show. This is the first official show with the new title. So I'm excited to have everyone here today, talk about some things that I think are really important in the community. So part of building your own business is having partnerships across the board. It's customers, clients, other organizations, people that you know, like, and trust, that you like to have surrounded around you. Charity is a very important part of any business, and having a charitable effort that it goes along with what you're doing is always something that any organization should support. Businesses are successful and need to share in that success and share in the opportunity to spread the word about great organizations. So today we're going to talk about a charitable organization that I care a lot about. I've got a good friend who runs it. We met playing rugby together. So one point in time, I did play rugby for the Dallas Reds, the DRFC. Still love those guys. I've got some great relationships from it. Makes me smile every time I think about the days that we played rugby. My wife may not think the same thing, but I definitely loved the experience that I had, the relationships that I built, the unique people that I met. And this person that I have on the show today, his name is Bryan Townsend. We met through that. I got to see this organization basically start, and his pup that helped him get this going. It's a great organization and an amazing thing. So I've got Bryan Townsend here. He's from Triggers Toys to talk about what they do in the community, some of the things that we do together, and ways that you can leverage each other to help out and help spread the mission of the organizations that you support. So Bryan, welcome to the show. I think you're going to be getting pulled up. Thanks, here in buddy. A second.
How you doing? I'm here. I'm good, man. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. We got to chat a little bit before the show, and you said that this is the easy part, getting to talk about the job you don't get paid for.
Yeah. So it's the hardest job you don't get paid for.
yeah, and I know that you've worked hard. So how many years has Triggers been around?
I think we're going on 12 years, almost 13 years now. 13 will be in I guess next month will be almost 13 years. That's awesome. So it's been crazy. Yeah.
So share the story. Like how did Triggers come about? How'd you get the idea? And talk about what you're doing in the community.
So it's a long, confusing, convoluted story, but it really started back in 2008. I actually had lost my job in the recession. I'm in the spirits business and was in a job I didn't like and needed a change. And I wanted to change on many different levels, not only professionally, but personally as well. And I didn't know when I left my job that the housing market was going to crash and I was going to go 8 months without work. So I didn't really plan on that. So I probably wouldn't have quit my job if I had known that. But, a lot of good came out of it. I spent a couple of months being out of work, enjoying life. I was loving every second of it. And then by the third month, I got really bored and started feeling sorry for myself. And interviewing for jobs left and right. And then, every time I would get through an interview, it would get shut down because they would lay people off. Decided that I was going to stop feeling sorry for myself. And I had always wanted to train my dog to be a therapy dog. And I had been doing that. I just wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. And this kind of allowed me to dedicate all my time to that. Got him certified through Baylor and through a few organizations that would allow him to visit hospitals. That's always something that I wanted to do. And I was like, well, I have all this time, let's do that. So I got him certified and went to my first visit in a children's hospital. It was actually in Grapevine, at our children's house. And the first time I was there, I just sat in a chair and I had my dog Trigger, and we watched this little girl go through physical therapy, and she was crying the entire time. She was miserable the entire time. And the nurse is like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to go talk to her mom. She's not getting any better. It's been a year. And they were trying to do was just to get her to pick things up and put them down, and pick things up and put her down. I mean, her hand, she had muscular dystrophy. And so I said, well, I had this bag of treats. Does she like dogs? And she nodded her head, and I went over and I started putting treats in her hand, and Trigger started taking them out. Just a very simple thing. And after a few minutes, I said, can you reach in and grab a treat and give it to Trigger? And all of a sudden, this thing starts happening. And the nurse is like, no way. And so that begins to her saying, those little pop-up tents that kids crawl through, young kids. Can you throw some treats there? Can Trigger go through? Maybe she'll follow him. So they put her on the ground. We throw treats in. Trigger goes through. I didn't think he was going to do it, but he did it. And everybody, now I have a small crowd of people around, and I'm just thinking, like, Trigger's the cutest thing ever. Look at how cute this is. I didn't think much of it. And she starts crawling through the tent, and half the room turns around and runs out. And all of a sudden they bring her mom in, and her mom's like, what's going on? And she sees through the other side, this girl, her name was Emily, crawl through the other side, and she falls down, starts bawling. Everybody's crying. And I didn't know what happened. It was almost like I had done something wrong. And they had told me, she was 4, 5, 6 years old at the time. That was the first time she'd ever crawled. So this massive moment happens, and it changed my life forever. I remember I run into the parking garage after I left, and I called my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and I was like, oh my gosh, here's what we're going to do. We're going to collect all these toys. We're going to take the kids in the hospitals, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And this is where you come in. And so I was playing rugby with you and the team, and I told everybody about the idea, and we did that big toy drive, and everybody brought all these toys, and we had an entire SUV full of toys.
Yeah.
And I was like, great, we're going to go give this to a hospital. So I called the hospital. They're like, oh, you can just drop it off in the back. I was like, no. We want to come in and we want to go visit the kids. He said, okay, what's your 501c3 number? And I said, what's a 501c3? They said, well, you have to be a nonprofit to bring the kids to give these toys. And it was August. And and I said, okay, so I didn't have anything to do. So I said, all right, well, I'll spend the next few months signing up to be a nonprofit organization. They said, what do you want to call it? And I was like, well, we got the dog named Trigger. We got a bunch of toys. We'll call it Trigger's Toys. And that was it. That's how it all started. And I remember Mark on the team giving me a check for $500 for Trigger's Toys, and I thought we were about to cure cancer. I mean, I couldn't believe that someone was dumb enough to give me a check for $500. And so we ended up we were doing a small Christmas party and giving all these toys to some kids. And then the next year, it grew. And where we had, 50 kids, we had 200 kids.
Right.
And we raised $1,500. And then everybody starts asking, what am I going to do with all this money? And I was like, I don't know. And the hospital started saying, we need these specialized walkers, and we need a treadmill, and we need this. And so I started using the money to buy things that a lot of these facilities needed. And it was chump change at that point. But it was something that we started doing in the community. I mean, if you remember, we did that painting party where we painted all the hospital rooms.
Yeah.
And just doing things in our community. We did the playground. Completely gutted the playground at our children's house and completely overhauled it, where families had a place to go outside with their kids, where they were cooped up in the hospitals. And they were just these community service projects where, Trigger's Toys was the conduit to where everybody could give back into their community. And I tell people, it doesn't matter how much money you have or much money you raise. It's about what you do with your time and what you do with your energy. And you can do a lot with very little. And, it has grown and grown and grown. And I never expected it to grow, and I never expected to be where we are now. But the one thing that I would say to anybody that wants to be involved in their community is you have to have a list of morals that you want to stick by and never break. And it's a hard thing to do sometimes when you have a lot of people in your ear going, oh, you know what you should do, you know what you should do, oh, you need to do this, oh, you're doing this wrong. My biggest thing was I was never going to take a dime for any of things that we will ever do. I'm in the spirits business. I have a lot of connections through Jack Daniels and Patron and Bacardi and Grey Goose. And I mean, you can name it. That's the world that I live in. I know all the chefs. I know all the bartenders, not only in the state of Texas, but beyond globally. And that's my job, is to know all those people. And So I have a lot of connections. So we started doing some big charity events that brought in a lot of money. And the first year we raised $10,000 and we tried to support a bartender who needed a lot of help. His son was born with a lot of disabilities. Mm-hmm. So we paid off his medical bills. That started a chain reaction where the next year we raised $25,000. Mm-hmm. The next year we raised $100,000. The next year we raised $200,000. The next year we raised $250,000. Now we're going to raise, I think one year we raised $300,000. And then in the middle of all that, we've had donations and people from companies and a lot of things. And I have a individual donor who's given us a ton of money. But in the last 13 years, combined with toys and generosity and monetary donations, if I'm going to count what's coming in September, we will have been at $3.8 million raised. We don't have any employees. It's just my wife and I and my kids. And we give it all away. And it's all about supporting our community, doing what's right for people that need it, and not needing anything in return. My sales pitch, if I have a sales pitch, is, you give $25 to the United Way, you give $100 to XXX, Red Cross, or it doesn't matter, right? They're all amazing organizations. They do a ton in our community. But I have come across, we're this big in the scheme of things. I've come across so many people that get frustrated because they give this money and they don't know where it goes.
Right.
And so my thing was, I want to start it. If I'm going to really do this and put my energy in it, I want to have an organization that's completely transparent, that I will tell people where the money goes. I will share the experiences that I've had and do the best I can to call it social media, even though I don't like to be a face of it, but try to share people where the money goes and share the fact that we don't have employees. And so that's kind of what Triggers Toys is in a nutshell. The last thing that I'll say on my big soapbox of a speech is, I made a lot of mistakes along the way. And a lot of people that have started organizations or businesses or want to get involved in the community, you're going to screw up so many times, and you're not going to realize at the time how much you screw up. But you learn and you move on and you adapt and you try to figure it out. I was helping some facilities that frankly did not need help. They all need help, but they have billion-dollar endowments that they can help, and they're still asking for more. I realized that, but I didn't know at the time. Now we only help facilities like a organization in a place called Bryan's House in South Dallas that they have all these kids with disabilities, and they don't even have a person on staff, a physical therapist on staff. So we've created the Triggers Toys therapy program that gets them physical therapy every single day. It's these kids that don't have a place to go because their parents need to work, and they're in the socioeconomic situation where their parents would have to stay home and not be able to work, where this is a place they're able to go, but then they go there and it's a wonderful place and they can't get the help that they need. So I learned about it, went there, said, what do you need? They're like, we need $100,000 to be able to, get a therapist. And I was like, what if I gave you twice that amount? Mm-hmm. And so we're on our 5th year. We've given them almost $1 million, and awesome. We've helped thousands of kids, and it's just a wonderful organization. But it's things like that what we do is we are a nonprofit, but I'm kind of a bridge. I try to be a bridge in between giving, because people could just give to Bryan's House or they could give to X. What I try to do is be the conduit in between and say, what we'll do is we're going to go identify the needs in our community. And then I'm going to set up a program inside of that our donors can help fund, and I can give them all the information, all the good that happened out of it and what we use the money for. So that's my big, long speech.
It's amazing what you've done with what you started with. And I don't know how you tell that story and don't lose your stuff. I almost
I've shed a lot of tears.
Yeah. I mean, just hearing the first, it gives you chills hearing that story about Emily. And it's like the not knowing what you don't know, just like having that experience and then setting the tone of where it is today. I mean, because it's not really Triggers Toys anymore. It's not bringing toy. I mean, I don't know if that's any part of what you still do, but it's turned into where
it's a fraction of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a small piece, but now it's such a bigger deal. And it may not, and you say you're small potatoes, but I don't know many people that have been able to generate $3.8 million for charity.
And the reason that it is because we're so, I say the word we, I never say the word I try, I'm on this podcast and I told you I was joking around. Like, I can't believe I'm on camera right now because I'm not dressed for it, but I never want to be the face of it because it's not about me. It's like so many people like you that help me get started along the way. But it's just kind of, it takes a village, and it doesn't matter if you're in the nonprofit world or in the real estate world, or you're starting your own business or whatever, as long as you have vision on who you want to be and how you want to get there, the road might be a little windy and a little rocky and you're gonna get knocked down and all those things. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I wanted to give up on this thing because it is so frustrating because everybody wants to tell you how to do your job, but yet doesn't want to take the time to step in and help you. I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. Right. But the morals that I sat back with is I'm not going to take any money and I'm going to tell everybody what they're, I've gotten $1 checks before in the mail. $1. I've gotten $200,000 checks in the mail, and I've gotten $1 checks in the mail. And I can tell you that $1 check means more than the 200 grand.
Yeah, because that means that it's worth enough to give anything. And that person may not have had that dollar to give, but that's what's so admirable and why I'm trying to do more to support you and the mission, support the Triggers Toys mission because of the impact that it has on a local basis. I mean, there's so many underserved communities. There's so much that we could be doing right here to make a difference. And you grind, you work at this. And the fact that you don't take a cent from it, that you're completely transparent about it, that the transparency is one of the number one things in any organization that can make a difference. And that makes people trust what the organization is doing and the mission is actually being served. I mean, I have an individual that when I met to I call it shaking my 10 cup to be able to pitch, and he's a wonderful, wonderful person. And we just met by chance and I never expected it, but he's like an anonymous. He doesn't want his name on anything. He doesn't want recognition. He wants nothing. But he told me recently, he's like, I'm going to give you money for some infrastructure and you have to use it for infrastructure because you're going to break otherwise. Like, he saw the fact that I was just grinding and, it's work smart, not hard. And I was working so hard that I didn't know what to do. And so he funded some help for me for some, call it advisors, to go, this is going to help you. You need to go here and you need to go here. And so he's helped me on that aspect. But other than that, it's just, let's do this thing. And awesome. I'm so proud that you're doing this, this BYOB podcast, but not only what you did in that most recent issue and because there's people and then there's companies that want to stick their name on a charity. And then there's people and companies that want to dig in and actually be part of the community. It's easy. It's so easy to have your PR department cut a check to a charity. And then they get to advertise about, look what all we did. It's another to partner with organizations and say, I want to make a difference in my community. And I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to put my effort where my mouth is. And for you to have a show like this and for you to do things like this, like, I cannot tell you how proud of you I am. Because this is the basis of, changing your community, right? We're not going to change the world. It's not going to happen. But you can change your little network. It's we all live in these little pods. We can change our network. I mean, hell, during COVID, I raised $25,000 for bartenders out of work. And all we did was get a few people and put on a barbecue thing where people could buy some barbecue. And we cut $500 checks for bartenders that were literally needed to pay rent. And it's little things like that you can just figure out. And
put some effort in and all that. And, the last thing that I'm the most proud of is, at the time I didn't have a wife or kids or anything. And now I have 2 little girls and they're fully involved in Triggers Toys. We go to the hospitals together. They see the work that we do, but they tell all of their friends and they're a part of it. And I just want them to grow up knowing that they can make a difference. That, I'm not driving Lamborghinis and we're not some wealthy people that have this private trust. We're just regular people that are trying to do the right thing in our world. And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we may not make a bigger difference, but making a difference for one person that's enough. And if you have you had the mentality when you were in a dire strait, like not really a dire strait situation, but you were not, you had lost your job, you couldn't get employed, and you were thinking about you created something that was about other people.
It's funny because I did it. It's because I admit it. Like I didn't go into it going, I'm going to go give back to my community. I know that sounds really terrible to say.
Yeah,
I did it by saying, I want to make myself feel better. And if I go give some effort to others, maybe it'll help me. Right. And I end up being able to help others. But it has completely and utterly changed my life. Yeah. It has completely changed everything about how I look at the world, how I look at others, how I even looked at my circle of friends, of who I was surrounding myself with, what kind of people they were, who I wanted to learn from, who I looked up to, who I needed to kind of push out of my life. And there was a lot of like self-reflection from all of it. And it all, I say I am where in my life because, at the time I didn't have a wife, I didn't have a kid, I didn't have a job. Right. All of a sudden through Triggers, I have a wife, I have a beautiful family, I have an amazing job that I wouldn't trade for the world. And I have a life that I just wouldn't trade for anything. And I don't think that's a coincidence.
No. And, you are a blessed man, and know your wife, met your kids, and I love that you take them and have them involved. And you have my commitment that I'm going to bring Cade and Livy to something. My kids,
bring it.
And Jackie, you've known Jackie pretty much since we started dating. So, and it's pretty awesome to see what you've done with this, and like you said, I'm doing what I feel like. I believe so much in it that I want to do everything I can to support you and the mission that you're doing, because I'm not creative enough or ballsy enough to go out and create my own. So the best thing I can do, Dan. So I love what you do, what it brings to the community. And because a lot of these kids, they wouldn't have the care, the facilities wouldn't have the people, and it's making a difference. And if I can, feature you in an ad in a magazine, have you on podcasts, we're doing a review push right now to where if somebody goes on and does a review on my website, then I'm going to make a donation to the organization on its behalf. What I care about is more people knowing about Triggers Toys and getting involved. It's not just from a monetary standpoint, but also like getting involved, because you don't have any employees. So if somebody can volunteer time, can put energy and effort in to help the organization, that's one less thing on your plate that could make a difference. And I want people to be as passionate about it as you are. And I love what you're doing.
My big thing is it doesn't have to be with Triggers Toys. It can be whatever you love and you're passionate about. It could be you lost a loved one to cancer and you want to donate some time or whatever. Time is probably the biggest thing that you can give. There's plenty of people that go out and try to serve on Thanksgiving, and I'm not saying that that's not important, but that's kind of the only time that it's kind of like showing up to church on Christmas and that's the only time you go, Right. It's for me, donating your time and just being kind to others. I mean, take this. The next time you're driving around and you see a homeless person on the side of the road, give them money, give them food or whatever, do all that stuff. but maybe talk to them for 30 seconds. Ask them their story. Do something nice for them. Do something kind for them. And then right after that, you have that moment. See how the rest of your day goes. I guarantee you it changes your day, you know? And then multiply that over time and just see how the outlook on how you look at things, people, you know, nonprofits, giving away, giving time, you know, all of that. Just see how everything and how your outlook on life changes instead of going, guy's begging me for money. Like, well, he needs to just go get a job, you know? But we've all done it. We've all felt that way. We've all kind of said that to ourselves. We've all played like we don't see them when we're in our cars. But sometimes if you just like talk to them, hey man, you know, tell me what's going on. How can I help you?
Yeah.
You know,
how'd you get here? What's the biggest need?
What can I do to help?
Yeah.
You know, you know what? I'm gonna pull over here. I'm gonna get you some lunch. I'm gonna come give it to you. Tell me how you're doing, how I can help. You know, just a 5-minute conversation, 2-minute conversation. But that's just one tiny little example. Or if it's going to, you know, a homeless shelter and saying, how can I help? Like teach me more about what your organization is doing. Right. And so you're
an empath, brother. You care, and the world needs more of that. I mean, with everything that's going on and where we are today, if we just started thinking about others before we think about ourselves, and like you said, time is our most valuable asset, because we all have an expiration date, and we only have so many minutes, so many seconds in our lifetimes. So when you donate time, you're giving your most valuable asset away. But if you're serving other people in that time, there's no better way you could be spending it. So that's a great message.
It takes work. It sounds great, and it looks great, and you get to go on podcasts and talk about yourself and all great. Trust me, it's hard. It is hard. It's hard to find time. We're all busy. We're all busy people. We all have families. We all have stuff we got to do and go places. And we all have obligations to our friends and, you know, going to restaurants and doing all, I mean, we all are busy. But, you know, it's also a mindset. There's always time. There's always time for others.
There is.
It's just, you have to make that. It's kind of like going to the gym or working out. You could make an excuse on why you don't want to go. I made one this morning. I didn't go to the, I got up, I got dressed, I was going to the gym. I was like, you know what? I got to do this podcast in a little while, and I got to do this. I don't have time. I totally had time to go. Right. But I think it all starts when giving back to your community. You're doing it. That's why you're having me on. I mean, it all starts with kindness and awareness and giving back and supporting the community that you live in. You know, I'm not trying to support all of Texas. I'm not trying to support all of Dallas. I'm just trying to support a small network of a couple of facilities that have maybe 50, 60 people in it each, and try to help them. And then from there, it'll expand and keep going. I got nominated. I don't know how I was. And I honestly, I wasn't even going to go. I got nominated for D Magazine for micro organization of the year. So I wasn't even small. I was micro. My friends had they had a field day with that.
I'm sure.
And so I was like, I'm not going to go. Not only am I not going to go, I'm not going to win, but I also don't want to just sit in a room with a bunch of people that aren't as like-minded as me. You know, I don't need to sit in a room with these giant organizations who, you know, are just need to take a photo in front of a thing. And my wife convinced me to go, and I went, and I could not have been more wrong. I actually sat at the table with Darren Woodson and some people from American Airlines, and Amazon was there. And it was funny because I'm like, since I have you all at one table, can I tell you a little bit about it? So I started pitching them, but we ended up not winning. But what was amazing about it was the stories that with the people that did win. Man, I could not have been. I don't know what was wrong with me and why I was so arrogant, thinking that it was going to be some, you know, ridiculous show off thing. I mean, there wasn't like a dry eye in the whole place the whole night. It was, I mean, it was Dallas's who's who. There was Hina Hosa, the superintendent, and Darren Woodson was there, and Amazon and American Airlines and all these banks. I mean, it was crazy. Like I didn't deserve to be in the room, and I left there with a whole new aspect and and outlook going, man, there are some wonderful people in this world. We just don't know about them, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're included in that. You are deserving. I know the grind. It's a long road to, nothing good, nothing great ever comes easy. And, so you have a great organization, you have a great mission, and you do deserve to be in that room because you're making a difference, man.
I always say I didn't deserve to be in the room. I don't even think I deserve to be in the parking lot. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to take it. Like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I was terrified if we actually won what I was going to say. But because, as you know, I'm a little long-winded. But, I got to turn it back on you, man. I mean, this is your thing that you're doing. This is your way to give back.
Yeah.
This is bringing people together, encouraging people to watch and listen to stories. And I'm sure you have more people before me and after me that are going to share their stories. This is your thing. And I'm so proud of you and you doing that ad for me. I mean, I blasted it everywhere and I can't thank you enough for that. It was unexpected. And, just continue to do what you do. This is your conduit, and encourage other people to do what they do. And, the kids are welcome, during Christmas. We're going to go all the toys. They're 100% in.
We're in 100%.
And anything you need anytime, call me anytime. And anybody that wants to get involved or just advice on how to get involved in your community, the first step is deciding what you want to do and the area you want to go. Mm-hmm. The next step is taking that first step and saying, okay, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to figure it out as I go. So
it's awesome.
Yeah,
man, I can't tell you, it's, seeing where everything's gone over the years and seeing you get to where it is. It's epic, man. You're making a huge difference.
It's been pretty cool. You're one of the few people that saw it from the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm just going, what are we doing? This is nuts.
But I don't know. I've always felt like it was going to be something special. And I'm like, sure, like the same way, Mark, and that's Mark and Genevieve Wood Lake Outdoors, right? Like, Mark is, I reconnected with Genevieve some time ago, his wife, like not long ago. And it's just like, it all started with a small community of guys, a rugby team, and a small thing, and it's turned into something greater. But
look what we did. I mean, look what we were able to do by redoing that courtyard. I mean, we literally gave a safe space at the hospital for people to go out and hell. I mean, honestly, what it was for those parents that just needed a minute,
Right.
When you go to these children's hospitals and stuff, you want to cry. It's awful, but you don't want to, because that's not why you're there. You're there for joy and cheering them up and stuff. But man, you need to go outside and bawl. I mean, and these parents that are having, I say these kids are tough. They're the toughest humans alive. But I almost think the parents in some ways are tougher because they not only have to navigate this stuff, but they have to watch their kids go through it, which you and I would give anything to take that pain away from our kids. Yeah. And then if you throw on top of it that those, think about those families that can't afford insurance or can't afford to pay the medical bills, and their kids can't get the treatment that they need. Put yourself in that position. And those are the people that we're trying to help, because they don't deserve that. And so that space that we created was for parents that just needed a break. And that was just 30 guys with an idea of going, let's just go do this. Let's do it. But that's my point. It doesn't take $1 million or $100,000 or $10,000 to do that stuff. It's just an idea of, I'm going to go help my community. I'm going to go clean up trash at a playground by the elementary school by my house. Right. It's that sort of stuff that costs nothing.
Lyndon, who is in the background on this, his organization's called The Difference. And it's about making local community impact and people that want to make a difference in it. And, it's like, it doesn't take much sometimes. It doesn't take much. And, we can all be the difference, one person at a time. just trying to be better, trying to help others, and trying to serve. But I love that you've offered to have people reach out to you. Bryan's contact what has run throughout the show. It's right there. It's Bryan@triggerstoys.org. And reach out to him, ask questions. You want to get started? You want to do something? Reach out to me. Call me, text me, email me. Because we're big supporters of making Dallas better. And
it's amazing.
This is our home. This is like the DFW Metroplex is, in my opinion, the greatest area to live in the world. And we are so blessed in so many ways, but there's so many other people that need help and need support. And if we all just did our part, gave away that time, invested in others, it can go a long way. So you've got my commitment. I'm going to keep doing my part. The podcast may be a part of it. And I'm going to keep supporting great organizations. I'm going to keep supporting my friends that I know have the right heart in what they're doing, and the people that I've been fortunate enough to have come into my life, because y'all have all made a difference for me. And I love you, brother. Man. I'm so proud of what you're doing.
I love you too, man. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Good guy.
So, thanks everybody for joining us. I mean, I love what Bryan's done with Triggers Toys. I love that there's tons of other organizations out there, and I'm welcome to feature a different organization every week. If I could do that, hey, maybe that's what I do, because there's so much that people are doing to help our community. And if we all did our part and took the one step, there's probably organizations to serve almost every need that we have. And sometimes people just need to know about them. So let's all do what we can. I'll do my part, and I'll keep doing this. You got my commitment. Really appreciate you investing the time with everybody today and sharing the story. Okay, brother?
Got it, buddy. Thank you for having me.
All right. So everybody, y'all have a great week. I will see y'all next Thursday. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.